Discover the incredible transformation of Coco's life-changing birthday surprise revealed after. Coco's heart raced with anticipation as her birthday approached, a date marked by dreams of cakes, games, and laughter. But with each passing day, that joy was like a balloon losing air, slowly deflating under the weight of her family's struggles. Her mother worked 2 jobs day and night just to put food on the table, leaving little time for celebrations. Watching her friends Mia and Jenna excitedly plan their extravagant parties only amplified Coco's feelings of invisibility. With every giggle and whispered secret in the school hallway, she felt the sting of longing too familiar for comfort. It was the Thursday before her birthday when Mia, her best friend, overheard Coco wish for a sweet celebration like everyone else had. Inspired by love but blind to the tension bubbling in their divided town, Mia concocted a plan that would set in motion a whirlwind of misunderstandings. Mia envisioned a surprise party that would leave Coco breathless, surrounded by friends and laughter just as she deserved. But unbeknownst to them, the stark contrast between their lives simmered beneath the surface, ready to erupt in unexpected ways. As the days slipped by, whispers began swirling through their tight-knit neighborhood, steeping conflict and preconceptions within the air. Mia, in her well-meaning excitement, invited everyone, rich and poor alike, sparkling decorations coupled with an extravagant cake that would stand tall. But as Coco caught a glimpse of envy in her neighbor's eyes, she could see the shadows of disapproval creeping in. Were they really her friends, or just wearing masks of pity? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as excitement bubbled within her, a bitter taste spread through Coco's chest. She overheard conversations laced with judgment, a certain snide remark about those people as she passed by a group on the corner. The words pierced through her, leaving her heart heavy, and she began to retreat into herself. Each soaring hope felt heavier, like burdens added to her slender shoulders. On the night of the surprise party, as bright lights twinkled in the distance and a cacophony of laughter rang through the air, Coco stood at the threshold. Would she step into the chaos meant to celebrate her or find solace in the shadows? The excitement she had longed for turned into a battle of emotions. Would this celebration turn into a source of tension, or could it be a bridge to understanding among their fractured community? As her breath quickened, she felt corners of doubt closing in. Her choice loomed large before her: step into the light or fade into the shadows. Little did she know the door would soon burst open, bringing with it unexpected faces full of love and reconciliation, challenging everything Coco thought she knew about friendship, connection, and her own worth. Would this journey end with the unity she craved, or would misunderstandings drive a wedge where love once stood? Coco stood frozen, her hands trembling as she surveyed the vibrant scene before her. Colorful streamers fluttered in the breeze, and the laughter of children echoed around her like a sweet song. It was everything she had wished for, yet all she could see were the differences that separated her from it all. Taking a deep breath, she stepped tentatively into the yard, the soft grass beneath her feet grounding her in reality. As she crossed the threshold, someone spotted her. A cheer erupted, and her heart soared for just a moment. Mia ran toward her, her eyes sparkling with delight. Surprise! Happy birthday, Coco! Mia screamed, pulling Coco into a tight embrace. The warmth of the hug seeped into her, stirring something inside, a mix of gratitude and apprehension. But then she looked around, seeing a blend of familiar and unfamiliar faces. Some beamed with genuine joy, but others whispered and glanced sideways, and she felt her stomach twist in knots. "It's amazing, Mia." "Thank you," Coco managed, but her voice cracked. She forced a smile, but inside the shadows of doubt crept back. Mia tugged her gently toward the table overflowing with goodies: cake, cupcakes, and snacks galore. As they approached, Jenna joined them, her expression brightening even more. "Look at that cake. It's huge. You're gonna love it," Jenna bubbled. Coco nodded, but her eyes darted to the edges of the yard, where a small group of older kids stood with their arms crossed, whispering. She could almost hear their thoughts. What is she doing here? Shaking her head, she pushed her worries aside, trying to focus on the celebration. But the laughter around her felt like a distant echo. It was as if she were watching from behind glass, separated from the joy radiating from her friends. Everyone was dancing and playing games, but she felt glued to the spot, her heart drumming a rhythm of fear and uncertainty. Then Mia grabbed her hand, pulling her into a game of musical chairs. "Join us, come on." With a nervous laugh, Coco finally let herself be swept into the fun. As the music played, children dashed around, giggling and shrieking as chairs were pulled aside. For a moment she felt free, her worries dissolving in laughter. But when the music stopped, her breath caught in her throat as a smaller child sprinted for a chair beside hers, pushing her aside without a second thought. Coco's heart sank. The sharp sting of rejection numbed her joy. She found a corner and leaned against the patio railing, watching as Mia cheered and clapped for everyone. "Coco," she called out, her voice filled with support. But Coco's smile had worn thin. "Why does it feel like I don't belong?" Coco whispered to herself, tears threatening to spill. Moments later, the sun dipped lower, and Coco felt an unexpected touch on her shoulder. It was Mrs. Garcia, her friendly neighbor, who'd often invited Coco in for cookies. "I want you to know," she said softly, "no matter what others say, you are loved and accepted here, my dear." That simple acknowledgement broke down a wall inside Coco. She had been waiting for validation from those she believed mattered most. Yet here was a gesture from someone unexpected. Just then the doorbell rang again, unexpectedly loud against the cheer. Eyes turned toward the sound, curious and expectant. Mia looked confused. Who could that be? Coco's curiosity piqued, and she felt a spark of hope flicker in her heart. Maybe, just maybe, this night was not over. But as the door opened wide, the silhouette of outsiders appeared. Could their arrival mean trouble or a chance for something new? As the door swung open, a hush fell over the yard. The unfamiliar figures looming in the doorway brought an air of tension that hung thick like humidity before a storm. "Is this where the party is?" A deep voice boomed. A tall boy with a baseball cap cocked to the side stepped forward, flanked by two others. A girl with bright pink hair and a boy holding a basketball. They wore easy smiles, but Coco couldn't shake the feeling that they were here for trouble. Mia stepped hesitantly toward them. "Yeah, come in," she called enthusiastically, though Coco could sense her nervousness. The unexpected guests exchanged glances, chuckling, as they entered the vibrant space filled with decorations and joy. "Did we crash a birthday party?" the girl asked. Her voice was light, but her gaze skipped over Coco, momentarily landing before moving on. Coco felt her heart race as she shuffled backward, hoping to blend into the wooden railing, wishing she could be invisible. She held her breath, willing herself to stay quiet, but the scene felt suffocating. "Coco, come on." Mia waved her closer, oblivious to the discomfort radiating from her friend. "They're new. Maybe you can show them around." Taking a hesitant step forward, Coco forced a smile. "Hi, I'm Coco," she managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. "Cool name. I'm Leah." The girl with pink hair stepped closer, her smile brightening. "Sorry for barging in. We heard about the party from down the street." Coco's stomach churned. Were they being genuine? Or were they just here to mock, to reinforce the walls she felt building around her every day? The boldness she usually sought seemed far from reach. "Want to join us in games?" Leah asked, tilting her head. It felt almost like a challenge with the laughter of the party bouncing around her. Coco looked at Mia, then back to the new faces. Sure," she said, the words tasting foreign on her tongue. As the music started again, Coco's heart raced. She hesitated for a moment, afraid to step back into the flow of life surrounding her. But then Mia reached for her hand, pulling her into the circle where laughter filled the air. Perhaps, just maybe, this could change the course of her day. The new kids laughed and applauded, truly embracing the spirit of fun. When the music paused, Leah and her friends cheered their way through the game, and for the first time, Coco felt an inkling of belonging. It was as if the laughter nudged her in from the edges, urging her to take part. But then, the smallest kid from earlier, the one who had pushed her aside, broke in with a frown. "You can't just come in and take over." Coco felt her heart drop again, shredded by those words. Once more, she was caught between moments. the warmth of acceptance ignited by new friends and the sharp sting of exclusion from an all-too-familiar circle. Coco clenched her hands into fists, trying to summon that spark of resilience she hadn't known she possessed. "We're just having fun," she spoke, surprising herself with the steadiness in her voice. Leah jumped in, her voice ringing clear. "Exactly. It's a party." The tension didn't ease fully, but a few kids joined in the cheer, clapping for the fun that unfolded around them. The music resumed, the moment softened, but Coco wondered if they would see her for who she truly was beyond the label they'd placed, beyond her fears. As laughing faces embraced her once more, Coco caught a glimpse of something shimmering beneath, the chance for real connection, real friendship. But just when she thought the air was warming, she noticed one of the older kids glaring with narrowed eyes. What could he be thinking? Could this birthday be the turning point she hoped for? Or would the shadows of doubt once again loom larger than the brightness of acceptance? The music pumped through the air, a buoyant beat that set the mood of the gathering. For a brief moment it felt like things might just be okay. Coco breathed deeply, trying to steal a piece of that joy. Mia squeezed her hand, a silent reminder that she wasn't alone. The laughter around her swirled, bright and warm, but the tension from the older kid wasn't leaving her mind. As her eyes darted across the group, Coco locked onto him. He stood off to the side, arms crossed, sneering slightly. Something in his stare felt heavy, like weights pulling her down beneath the surface of laughter and color. Was this just another form of judgment? Hadn't she felt enough of that already? "Hey, you got a problem with something?" Leah shot back, her boldness making Coco's heart swell. It might have seemed reckless, but it was fiercely protective. Even so, the glare from the older boy didn't let up. "Just saying this isn't how it usually goes," he retorted, shrugging off Leah's challenge. He glanced at his friends, smirking. Mia spoke up, her voice bright but trembling. "We're just having fun. Isn't that the point?" The laughter in the yard dropped a notch, the edge of unease creeping back in again. Coco could feel it, how the atmosphere shifted like a gust of wind. It tugged at her, reminding her of all the time she was sidelined, the years spent clinging to the corners instead of stepping into the light. With determination surging in her veins, Coco straightened her back. She understood in that moment that acceptance didn't always come easy, especially not from those who thrived on control. "Look, I don't want any trouble. We're just trying to celebrate, right?" Her voice was steady, the quiver gone. It felt so good to stand tall. The boy rolled his eyes but didn't argue. The laughter returned slowly like a cautious tide. Leah grinned, pulling her back into the circle and encouraging her friends to join in a dance-off. Hoping to ignite the mood, Leah mimed exaggerated dance moves, making everyone crack up. Coco joined in, moving her feet clumsily at first, but there was something liberating in it. The laughter mixed with music, and for a few breaths, the noise enveloped her. A spark ignited in her chest as she swung her arms wildly and let herself smile, releasing the ghost of that critical stare. As the party crescendoed, Mia pulled Coco aside to grab drinks. "You did amazing. I wouldn't have had the guts to stand up like that," Mia exclaimed, eyes wide with admiration. "I was scared, but it felt right," Coco admitted, her heart still racing, but this time from determination instead of fear. However, her moment of triumph cut short when she spotted the older kid whispering to his friends, shooting looks her way. Something vile stirred within her. Perhaps it was the realization that some shadows couldn't just be chased away with laughter. Coco could feel a tightness in her chest again. While kids danced, Coco reached deep inside and a small flame flickered. She could be strong. But how did she uncover the magic to truly transform this party for herself? If she could only flip the script, no longer just the wallflower but a part of the story unfolding. But then she caught Leah's attention again. I never really fit in until I found my people," Leah said, her eyes shining. "Don't let anyone dim your light, Coco." A wave of emotion coursed through Coco. Could she embrace her inner strength? Would tonight be the night everything changed? As the party carried on, she felt the shifting energy, the potential dancing in the air. But what would be the next step? Would the warmth envelop her completely? In that moment, the question that floated like confetti remained. Could Coco finally find her place in the world beyond the shadows? Coco took a deep breath, letting the beat of the music guide her pulse. The uncertainty clawed at her, but she could feel a tender resolve starting to bloom within. Would she let that sneer from the older boy hold her back? The energy of the party was magnetic, and she didn't want the biting whispers of insecurity to tarnish it. She had a choice to make. "Let us join them," Mia said, her voice bright with excitement. Coco nodded, catching the glimmer of joy lit in her friend's eyes. They moved back into the crowd, a wave of laughter washing over them as they found an open spot to dance. Coco felt the rhythm pull her in, urging her to let go and be free. For a moment, it was as if the world had slipped away. She spun and twirled, her feet tapping along with the music. It was liberating to forget about everything else, the looks, the judgments, and even those nagging thoughts that whispered she didn't belong. Leah and Mia danced nearby, their joy infectious, and soon other kids joined them, forming a loose circle around their little crew. But just as she felt herself surrendering to the moment, she caught the older boy's gaze again. He had stepped closer now, still aloof, still smirking. Her heart sank. Why was he ruining this? The laughter around her faded slightly as he whispered something to his friends, casting glances at her and the group. "Hey!" Leah shouted, clearly fed up. "What's your problem? This is a party, not a judging competition." Coco's pulse quickened. Leah's words were fierce, but would they change anything? She could see the boy's confidence tower over his group, but inside she could feel the cracks starting to form. Maybe they could take him down a notch without any negativity. "I don't know what your deal is," Coco called out, surprising even herself. "But we're not going to let you ruin our fun." The circle fell quiet. She could hardly believe she was saying those words. It felt scary and exhilarating, like she had jumped into a pool without knowing how deep it was. For a heartbeat, the world was still waiting for a reaction. The boy opened his mouth, and for a moment, Coco braced herself for another snippy comeback. But instead, he merely shrugged, eyes narrowing in confusion. "Whatever, just don't cry when we leave, okay?" He shot back, though his bravado wavered. Coco could feel every pair of eyes on her now. The growing silence was laced with tension, but it was different. A bond was forming within the circle, a shared understanding as she stood tall, heart racing in defiance of the judgment. "Hey, if you can't handle our light, maybe you should find some shade," Mia piped up, exerting the strength of their friendship like a protective barrier. Just then laughter broke out again, a ripple of amusement spreading through the group, shaking the tension. The older boy scowled, but the smirk melted away as he realized he was not the center of attention anymore. Emboldened, Coco stretched her arms wide, as if inviting the energy back. "Dance with us," she shouted, beaming. Even she was surprised at the sound of her own voice, commanding and vibrant, cutting through the air. Little by little, kids around them began laughing again, easing the tension. One of the younger kids broke away from the group and started moving to the music, arms flailing and feet shuffling. Laughter poured like rain. The older boy finally backed away, his friends trailing behind him, uncertain of their next move. As they dispersed, Coco felt the thrill of victory sparking inside her. "Did you see that?" Leah exclaimed, pulling Coco into a hug. "You were amazing." Coco laughed, her heart soaring. "Me? I was just doing what needed to be done." But as the music blared on, the hold of that earlier tension still lingered somewhere deep. What if the darkness could still somehow creep back in? As the warmth of the crowd enveloped her, Coco's spirit flickered with hope but was also shadowed by fear. If she had sailed through this moment, what awaited her next? And just as she caught sight of Mia smiling joyfully, her thoughts raced ahead. Was this newfound strength enough to face whatever came next? In that instant, one undeniable truth settled in her heart. Tonight was just the beginning. The bass thumped in her chest, pulsing a rhythm that felt both electric and warm. Coco's laughter mingled with the celebratory cheers of her friends, but deep down, the victory of standing up to the older boy was not just about that moment. It was a step, a leap into a newfound courage she hadn't realized she possessed. "Let us go get some punch," Mia suggested, her eyes sparkling with mischief. Coco nodded, still riding the high of her unexpected defiance. The girls weaved through the crowd, the energy of the party swaying around them like a tidal wave of sound and light. As they approached the punch bowl, Coco caught a glimpse of the older boy eyeing her from a distance, frustration etched on his face. A shiver danced down her spine, but instead of fear it fueled her. He had tried to dim her light, and she had refused to let that happen. She poured punch into a cup, grinning at Mia and Leah, who had sidled up beside her. Okay, but what do you think he'll do now? Leah asked, taking a sip of her drink. I mean, he might come back for round 2. Let him, Coco replied, surprising herself with how steady her voice was. I have all of you. The 3 of them floated back toward their dance spot. As they laughed and chatted, the strobe lights pulsed in rhythm with the beat, a kaleidoscope of colors wrapping around them. It almost felt surreal. With each thrilling note, Coco began to realize that her bubble of support was an unbreakable force. Not far from them, a group of girls started to huddle in, whispering and giggling. When one pointed directly at Coco, a wave of anxiety bubbled up again. But then Leah's hand found hers, grounding her. Hey look! Mia exclaimed, pointing to the center of the floor. Dance off! The crowd had formed a wide circle, and 2 kids were already showing off their moves. Spirits were high as cheers erupted. Everyone clamored to get in on the action. Coco could feel her heart thumping wildly at the idea of stepping forward. But she also felt an overwhelming urge to join in. Come on, we should do it. Mia urged, her enthusiasm infectious. No way. I can't dance like that, Coco replied hesitantly. But the truth lingered. She had enough courage to speak up to the boy. Why not dance in front of everyone? Just as she began to shake off her hesitation, another wave of laughter filled the air. Coco spun around, and there was the older boy again, edging into the circle. This time with a glint of something different in his eyes. Was it admiration? Maybe he is just here to redeem himself, Leah said quietly, her gaze steady on Coco. But before Coco could reply, the kids in the center were calling for more contestants. Come on, Coco! Mia shouted, her voice ringing clear. Show us what you've got. All eyes turned on her, a chorus of encouraging shouts rising in the background. Coco's pulse raced. This was her moment. She lifted her chin, inhaling deeply as adrenaline surged through her veins. The beat of the music filled her with determination. Okay, let us do this. She laughed, stepping into the circle. The laughter transformed into cheering, and the moment felt electric. Coco moved to the rhythm, losing herself in the music as she twisted and turned, feeling the weight of her worries melt away. This was not just about proving herself anymore. It was about joy, freedom, and the sweet taste of being young and alive. But just as she began to shine, the older boy called out to her, his demeanor shifting. Not bad for a rookie. But I bet you can't beat me. His challenge echoed through the air, a mix of bravado and something softer. Coco paused, breathless. The crowd hushed, the tension building as she contemplated her next move. Could she really dance against him? The stakes suddenly felt higher, and a spark of doubt flicked through her, mingled with the thrill of possibility. Could she take him on? What if this was her true test, the one that determined not just a dance, but her growth into someone new? With determination lighting her eyes, Coco took a step forward, ready to face whatever was next. Would she rise to the occasion once more, or would she falter under the weight of expectation? Coco felt the crowd's eyes on her, each gaze a weight of anticipation. The sudden silence was deafening. Her mind raced, balancing uncertainty and exhilaration. This wasn't just a dance-off. It was a challenge, an invitation to dig deeper and show who she really was. The older boy smirked, leaning back as if he'd already won, but Coco refused to let him define her. She glanced at Mia and Leah, their faces alight with encouragement, their cheers nudging her forward. They believed in her. That realization sparked something fierce inside her, a flame igniting against the shadows of self-doubt. She took a quick breath, swelling her chest, feeling the bass thrumming beneath her feet. The music shifted, slower but a groove that beckoned her closer. She could feel every heartbeat reverberating through the floor, pushing her to move. She stepped into the circle and the moment was hers. Coco locked eyes with the older boy, and just like that, the world outside faded. Nothing mattered except the beat and the dance. She let it flow from her fingertips to her toes, twisting and spinning, effortlessly losing herself in the rhythm. The crowd erupted into cheers again, and it felt like a tidal wave of support crashing over her. Go Coco! You got this! Mia shouted, her words cutting through the noise, fueling Coco's confidence even more. The boy tried to match her moves, sliding and flipping with practiced ease. But Coco couldn't let him steal her spotlight. She incorporated little breaks and funky steps, adding her own flair. She felt the energy surging, electrifying every muscle. A smile broke across her face, infectious and radiant. The crowd responded in kind. They clapped, hooped, and began to sway in sync with her motions. Each step she took felt like wings unfurling. She was set free from the weight of expectation, the burden of being perfect. She was there to enjoy herself, to be spirited and vibrant, not just Coco the timid girl. Suddenly, Coco went for it, a jump spin that left her breathless, eyes wide in freedom as she landed smoothly, swaying as the final note of the music echoed in the air. She stood tall, laughing and panting, facing the crowd who erupted in applause. For a moment, everything hung in the balance. The older boy regarded her, no longer looming and intimidating but impressed. His expression shifted, the smirk replaced by a flicker of respect. "Wow," he admitted, a sincerity behind his words that surprised Coco. "You really did surprise me." The crowd buzzed with excitement, and Coco felt a swell of pride. She was no longer the girl who simply cowered in the shadows. She had stepped into her light, and she was shining bright. "Okay, one more round," Mia called out, her energy infectious. Coco's heart raced, adrenaline still surging through her. "What? You want me to go again?" "Of course. Let us show them how it's done." Leah scrambled back into the circle, urging others to join in. As the next beat dropped, Coco felt 1,000 possibilities surge through her. But just then, she noticed the older boy lingering by the edge, watching her in a way that sent butterflies fluttering in her stomach. "I never thought you had it in you," he said softly, almost as if he was trying to connect. Coco's eyes narrowed slightly. "There's a lot you don't know about me." His brow furrowed, confusion flickering across his features as the crowd mixed with cheers and shouts of encouragement, pulling her back into the moment. What did he mean by that? Did he really want to know her? What if this wasn't just about dancing anymore? The rhythm surged once more, and she could choose to dance, to mask her fears, or to confront a new story waiting to unfold. It felt like a crossroads, one where she was no longer afraid. Coco had a decision to make. Would she engage with the boy further, opening herself up to new connections, or keep her focus on the dance, on the joy resonating deep within her? The night was just getting started, and so was her journey. What would happen when she pushed past her limits again? The beat dropped again, powerful and insistent, pulling Coco back into the music. Her heart raced, the rhythm syncing with her pulse. The crowd roared, urging her on. She could either dive deeper into this dance, or momentarily step away to face the curiosity brewing in her about the boy. She could feel the heat from the lights and the stares of the crowd, but one voice called out louder than the rest. "Coco, dance like nobody's watching," Mia shouted, her voice cutting through the flood of thought. With determination rooted in her core, Coco focused on the circle. She smiled, letting the music wash over her, time stretching as her body moved naturally, weaving a story of movement and joy. She spun and leaped, flooding the space with her energy. Each twist felt like shedding layers of self-doubt. The world faded to just her and the beat, lost in the moment and the incredible rush that came with it. But there he was again, the boy with the intense brown eyes still watching, a hint of admiration mixed with perplexity. His presence pulled her attention like gravity, and for a heartbeat she faltered. It almost felt like he was waiting for something more, something that only she could give him. The crowd erupted in new cheers, and she danced with purpose, fully alive. But in the back of her mind, the question lingered: what if she opened herself up? What would it entail? As she swirled into a final pose, arms extended and head held high, she felt the rush of accomplishment flood her. The applause swelled, enveloping her like a protective cloak. Yet she remained aware of his gaze. They locked eyes, and this time, she saw it, a curiosity deeper than their dance-off. A desire to understand more of who she was. "Why do you hide behind that smirk?" Coco called out, her voice confident despite the dance's end. The crowd went silent again, intrigued. She hadn't expected to call him out, but the words slipped out, as if the rhythm had given them life. His expression shifted, surprise and intrigue flickering. "Maybe I was afraid to step out too," he admitted, his voice steady, resonating through the crowd. Coco's heart raced, emotions swirling. This wasn't just about dancing anymore. It was a connection barely formed but electric. Could they fight together against their fears? Then Leah stepped in, breaking the tension. "Come on. Dance with her. Show us what you've got." She waved him in, A cheeky grin plastered across her face, making the crowd erupt into laughter and supportive shouts. The boy hesitated, glancing at Coco, whose breaths came fast with a mix of hope and uncertainty. "When's the last time you really let go?" Coco asked, her tone warm but challenging. "Maybe tonight will be that time," he replied, finally stepping forward. His tentative smile promised change. The music shifted again, vibrant and alive, as they moved together. Each beat pulsed through them, and Coco could feel another layer of hesitation peeling away. She let their movements intertwine. A dance not just of competition but of new beginnings. But just then, a familiar figure emerged from the crowd, catching Coco's eye like a flash of light in a dark room. It was her dad, his face a mixture of surprise and pride etched across it. Coco's heart skipped. She hadn't expected him to show, let alone witness this moment of transformation. Would he embrace the new Coco, the one who wasn't afraid to shine? Or would he still see the timid girl from before? What would she say when she finally saw him? With every step she took alongside the boy, Coco felt the weight of that moment growing, teetering on the edge of revelation. The rest of the night lay before her, full of possibilities just waiting to be danced through. All Coco could do was keep moving, heart open wide to whatever came next. What surprise awaited her beyond the music? And could she keep the dance going as her worlds collided? The music pulsed, wrapping around them like a warm embrace. Coco glanced back at her dad, the surprise on his face shifting into a proud smile. Goosebumps broke out on her arms. She felt alive, every nerve ending tingling with the rhythm. Here she was, dancing under the bright lights, with eyes watching her, including the one she had momentarily forgotten, the boy who had encouraged her to be more than she thought she could be. "Let us do this," she whispered to him, heart pounding, confidence building. He nodded, returning her enthusiasm with an eager smile that gave her courage. They synchronized their movements, a powerful exchange, twists and turns, spins and pauses. Each movement shared felt like a secret unveiled. The crowd grew louder, an ocean of faces captivated by their chemistry. It was intoxicating. She felt weightless, as though gravity had no hold over her, because here at this moment, she could be anyone she wanted. Stepping back, she took a breath, watching him as he interpreted the beat with his own unique style. It was raw and real, and something inside her cracked open a little more. She saw pieces of herself in him, bravery and vulnerability intertwined. Her heart beat with possibility. Then the song shifted, a melody softer yet poignant, like a gentle wave washing over them. The beat slowed, and in that instant Coco seized the opportunity. She reached out and grabbed his hand, pulling him closer, their connection palpable. Leaning into the music, they moved together, her head resting against his shoulder for a moment. Their steps synchronized in a way that felt both thrilling and comforting. Just as the crowd began to sway with them, the familiar sight of her father wove through her thoughts again. This was it, this dance, this moment was her gift, a celebration of taking flight. She longed for him to understand the transformation she felt within. Suddenly, she caught a glimmer in her dad's eyes. Not fear, not reluctance, but something akin to admiration. He had seen her step into herself, claim her space among so many who loved her and believed in her. The music swelled, lifting them higher, and she couldn't help but shout to the boy, "We're doing it. We're really doing it." It was louder than the music, but somehow it harmonized perfectly as they spun into each other. Like the world outside didn't exist. "Might be my best moment yet," he replied, the delight shining in his eyes, igniting a spark inside her. But just as they reached the crescendo of the song, a thrilling peak of energy and excitement, chaos erupted. A sudden realization rippled across the crowd. A group of kids, faces painted and filled with energy, spilled onto the stage area, looking to join the celebration, crashing into their moment. "Let us go, everyone," Leah shouted, laughing as she pulled the kids into the vibrant spectacle that had become their night. Coco felt a mix of amusement and anxiety as the space shifted around them. The boy stepped back, momentarily overwhelmed. "What now?" he asked, his voice tinged with uncertainty. "Now," Coco replied, glancing around at the fun ignited in every corner of the venue. A smile crept across her face. "Now we adapt. We let the joy wash over us." The atmosphere buzzed with unrestrained laughter, clapping and dancing. Everyone was a part of it, uniting in a wave of collective bliss. Coco took the boy's hand again, feeling braver than before. and stepped into the crowd with him. She could sense her father's eyes on her, unyielding support in every moment, ready to witness who she was becoming. But the commotion also unwrapped a new layer of apprehension. The unexpected intrusion had shaken her focus. What if she lost the magic of the moment? Could she hold on to the storm of emotions swirling within her, while embracing the new developments unfolding around her? As she was swept into the surge of dancing kids and celebratory shouts, one thought lingered: would this night be the turning point she hoped it would be? Or would she let the old Coco slip back? The beat pulsed on and Coco danced, uncertain yet thrilled, staring at the boy beside her, unknowing of what awaited them next. Coco felt a surge of energy as laughter erupted. Kids were twirling, giggling, and dancing. She inhaled deeply, letting the joy wrap around her like a warm blanket. Moments before, fear threatened to pull her back, but now it had transformed into something bright and inviting. She squeezed the boy's hand gently, feeling a connection that flickered like a playful spark in a quiet wind. "Let us join them," she yelled over the music, and he nodded, his smile infectious. Together they pushed into the sea of dancing kids, exhilaration thrumming alongside the bass. The laughter wrapped around her, and for the first time she didn't feel like an outsider. This chaotic whirlwind of energy, laughter, and light felt right. As the songs shifted, each beat encouraged her to let go of what she thought she should be. She saw faces: Mia jumping with joy, leaks of familiarity in the smiles around her. Her dad was moving closer now, mirroring the crowd's infectious energy. The last remnants of fear began to scatter like dried leaves in the autumn wind. "Dance like nobody's watching," Leah's voice rang out, and she began moving, her spirit bright and contagious. Coco joined in, laughing and twirling, spinning away inhibitions. The music wrapped around her, cradling each movement, filling the air with laughter and acceptance. She could feel her heart beat steadily in her chest, solid and brave. Amidst the celebrations, the older boy took a step closer. "You've really changed the atmosphere," he shouted, a newfound respect in his tone. "Maybe we both have," Coco shot back, her heart surging with pride and joy. They instinctively mirrored one another, dancing as if no one else existed. It was liberating, daring, and exactly what she needed. Then, as if in a beautifully synchronized moment, Coco felt her dad's presence beside her. His face radiated warmth, his once concerned expression now replaced with pride. She caught his eye and gave him a genuine smile. "Look at you," he called out, all washing over his tone. "You're shining." Coco's heart swelled as emotion washed over her. In that moment, she realized her journey had not only transformed her, but had also touched those around her. If she could step into her light, so could others. Fingers intertwining with the boy's, they leaped into a spin, and she saw it: the fear in his eyes was gone. The barriers that kept them apart began crumbling, and they danced as if they were both ready to face the world together. This was her moment, a celebration of her newfound strength and assurance, and he stood beside her, two dancers, one spirit. As the night deepened, laughter rang through the air, each sound echoing the joy of connection, unity, and hope. The tension that had once threatened to smother them faded, replaced with a vibrant tapestry of friendship weaving through their lives. In that moment, everything crystallized. This was not just a party. It was a beautiful reminder that there's beauty in vulnerability and power in authenticity. Yes, life would be filled with shadows and doubts, but their dance was bright, woven with laughter and warmth, an explosion of acceptance and understanding. "Let us keep this feeling alive," Leah yelled, pulling the crowd into a circle. "Together," Coco cheered back, her voice mingling with the collective whoops. Surrounded by loving faces, she knew she could face any new challenge. "This is just the beginning," Coco exclaimed, her heart full. "Let us do this every year." Her words rang through the crowd, eliciting cheers and laughter. And as the music played on, she danced with all her heart, finally embracing who she was, a girl unafraid to shine. To everyone watching, where are you on your journey? Remember, you have the power to transform your story. Now is the moment to make a change in your life. Don't wait. Subscribe immediately to our channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment below with your reactions and thoughts about Coco's transformation. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this journey. True fans know the difference their support makes. This is your chance. Don't wait not even one more second to share.